firstborn. The Bardskis and 27 other families who moved to New York from Poland in July were granted 3-year visas to continue to work as multilingual flight attendants for Delta Airlines. But suddenly, everything went wrong.
I have no job now and even almost no right to be in States. Our visas are revoked and we have to go back to Poland.
If only I knew that things are going to be like this, I never decided to go to States.
When Delta closed its Warsaw offices, the Bardskis were invited to continue their professional careers in America. They rented out their 1-bedroom apartment in Poland, sold their car, furniture, and said goodbye to their native land. Their nightmare began in September when an immigration official noted their visas were actually intra-company transfer visas, which are reserved only for managers or for employees with special company knowledge. The U.S. government then admitted it made an honest mistake with the flight attendants and must now revoke those visas. Delta says it's trying its best to appeal the ruling, so far without success.
How fair is that to people who entered lawfully and were given assurances by not only the Immigration Service and the State Department, but by their company as well?
To expose my baby to such conditions, to such stress, you know, I just don't know what's going to happen with us right now.
The government says the Bardskis now have 13 days to pack and leave the country.
Apparent mistake in issuing their work visas. Well, joining us this morning are Elżbieta Jaworska, Gosia Marowska, and their attorney, Michael Wiles. Now, we also want to note we did invite a representative from the INS, but they were unavailable this morning. First of all, Mr. Wiles, let's start with you. Tell us briefly what happened here.
At the outset, I should say that this is turning out to be a diplomatic incident. We've heard from the Polish consul general in New York, and I've spoken personally with Senator D'Amato that's very concerned about the appearance of the Immigration Service in this case.
On what grounds were the families supposed to be moving here in the first place?
They were intra-company transferees. Delta had just closed down their flight attendant and their post in Frankfurt and in Warsaw and tried to place these people in the United States. Ultimately, the visas were issued, allowing them to enter the United States and work in that category legally.
Now, it's interesting to know that you're a former U.S. attorney yourself. You actually have represented the Immigration Department in court in the past. Normally, on what grounds are these types of visas usually issued?
They're issued to people that are either executives, managers, people with specialized knowledge of the internal processes and procedures of a company. These people were very qualified flight attendants. They traveled on inter-European cultural visits. They speak several languages. They're very qualified people, and we're very disappointed how the Immigration Service are treating them.
And we should note that the INS actually admits that they made a mistake in this case, but under the current law, they say that unfortunately a mistake was made, and because of that, the families have to move back. Elżbieta, what does that mean for you personally?
Actually, all of us, everybody, we are very highly disappointed, very depressed right now. We don't know where we are, what is our position. We feel like in the middle of nowhere. We came here with all good faith to work for company.
Did you give up your home and all that in terms of selling?
Back there. I planned to send for them, for my husband and my daughter, and we made all the plans already. Now we don't know where we are, what we should do next. Many of us from the group, we sold our properties. Some of us, they brought children here. They put them into schools.
What are you going to do now?
We don't know. We feel like, you know, just left by ourselves, that we are the ones who need to suffer all the consequences. And we don't really feel that we deserve it.
Gosia, what about you? What did you leave back home?
I share the same feeling as Ella does. The whole group does share the same feelings. We left our properties in Poland. We came over and we planned our future here for 3 years ahead. Right now, all of a sudden, we have to leave the country within 2 weeks. There are people here in our group who are not prepared for that. They cannot travel.
They don't have homes back there.
We don't have homes back there.
No jobs?
No jobs.
No benefits.
No insurance benefits, nothing.
There's
even one person that is expecting a child, a spouse, and another person that has a handicapped child that really can't get on a plane.
And in this case, what the INS is saying is that these workers don't really qualify under the wording of who should receive these visas, that they don't qualify after all, even though apparently someone made a mistake and did initially approve of them. What are you going to do now?
We have done some research and learned that the Immigration Service has been authorizing people from Japan Airlines the same visa. We are going to take these good people and have a day in court. We hope that the government will work something special out for them because they're going through these undue hardships.
Maybe make an exception in this case, perhaps?
Perhaps. But we do feel that they are qualified and that the law is general enough for them to qualify on the basis that was originally presented.
And you'll be in court before December 5th, the date?
We expect to file something the next week.
All right, well, good luck to all of you, and keep us posted. Thank you very much. Back to you, Glenn.
Come into this country in the first place. CNN's Cynthia Tornquist sorts through the confusion.
When Delta Airlines closed its base in Warsaw, Poland, the company offered to relocate some of its employees to the United States. Flight attendant Sławek Barski, a Polish citizen, saw it as a lucky break for him and his pregnant wife, Anna.
We decided to start our new life here in the United States. I thought about my baby. I wanted my baby to be born in America.
The couple gave up their apartment, sold their car, and moved to Long Island.
I had to quit my studies in Poland. I had to say goodbye to my family, friends.
Now the Barskis and 37 other families who left Poland to work for Delta in New York have seen their dreams dashed. The Immigration and Naturalization Service, INS, which approved their visas, has since decided an inexperienced trainee made a mistake. The visas, intercompany transfers, are usually given to managers or employees with special knowledge of a company, not flight attendants.
Had we done a better job of looking at that justification, the judgment call we made would have been that they would not have been eligible for the visas.
By the time the INS realized its mistake in September, it was too late. The Delta employees had already left behind their lives in Poland and had begun new ones here in the United States. The flight attendants have hired an attorney.
You mean to tell me that a trainee approved on 2 separate occasions 38 applications for these good people to come to the United States? Or that it was the same person that made the mistake twice? I wonder if the Immigration Service can account for that.
Delta has decided to appeal the decision 2 weeks before the flight attendants would have been forced to leave the country. The company says these are highly qualified people, skilled in languages. That's why they are so valuable to Delta. As a result, the attendants may remain until a decision is reached. In the meantime, INS is allowing the attendants to work.
I have to settle again. I don't know what's gonna happen.
The Barskis say they still dream of a new life in the United States. Cynthia Tornquist, CNN New York.
I keep trying to get that name right, but Jaworska,
yes.
That is correct. Now, you were a flight attendant
yes.
with Delta Airlines, and also Michael Wiles, who is an attorney and also a former federal prosecutor. Elżbieta, let me start with you and ask you exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened when Delta closed the base in Warsaw and we were told about this. Actually, the very difficult time for all of us started. We came here knowing that our visas are for at least 3 years. We were granted this. So actually we had all the rights to try to set our lives for quite a while in the U.S.
How long have you been here?
We've been here since August, and all the nightmares started in September, early September, when the problems with visas arose. And we had problems with entering U.S., coming from Poland, for example, visiting our kids. And here we are, 28 people of us, and we don't know where we are right now.
All from Poland?
All from Poland,
okay.
Yeah. We were offered this transferred officially and legally by Delta. We were brought here, I mean, on
and now
legal
they're
status.
telling you that the visas are not valid and they want you to leave.
Yes, and actually we transformed our lives to come over here from overseas. We had to change everything. We sold our properties. Many of us, we brought already our families here.
And now you're stuck.
And now we are stuck.
Let me turn to your representative here, to your attorney. What is going on with this? Is this a legal action by the government, by U.S. Immigration?
The Immigration and Naturalization Service has acknowledged that they made an error, that they had trainees adjudicate these visa applications, and that the justification for the issuance of the visa should be revoked.
Well, if they made the error and they have uprooted 28 people and they have changed their whole lives, it would stand to reason that maybe they would make some kind of an allowance?
One would think in a democracy where we try to serve a good example to a nation and citizens of a nation